Hey, I'm Tyler. And I was wondering if there was a relationship between GDP per capita and desalination infrastructure in arid countries. If you remember back a couple months ago, Trump started this military expedition to an arid country called Iran. And a little while ago, he was threatening to blow up desalination infrastructure, which is a war crime. He quickly, after about a week or so, he stopped threatening their desalination infrastructure. But it had me wondering, how valuable to GDP or GDP per capita is this desalination infrastructure? Because I've kind of had a little hyperfixation about desalination for a while now. So, and of course, in arid regions, pretty easily you can tell that they're water scarce. So desalination seems like it might be very valuable to their economy. So we have our dependent variable, which will be the natural log of GDP per capita, and then our independent variables are going to be the natural log of capacity per capita, which will be the daily desalination output in cubic meters per country per population. And then I have desalination facilities and desalination facilities squared. Why squared? So that we can see the marginal benefits to an additional desalination facility in a given country. We have 31 countries total. All this data is from 2024. Here's our 31 countries here. If they're blue, they're considered non-arid, and if they're this orangey, deserty color, they're arid. Our arid dummy variable is pretty much are they or are they not? It's a 1 or a 0. Our ln of population, natural log of population, and then urban population as a total percent of population. Why are some of these natural logs? Well, just as normal, the data is a little ugly. It's kind of a little skewed, really high, really low. But if we take the natural log, oh, it's so pretty and even. Amazing. This helps our standard deviation a lot. It makes our data more accurate, and we're able to make better assumptions about the data. Here's our regression results. And we have our regression equation down here. R squared is at 0.725, which is pretty good. We don't want it to be at 1, but we don't want it to be super low either. Our dependent variable, just as a reminder, is the natural log of GDP per capita. And our significance here, we're looking at the p-value. We want these numbers to be as low as possible. And this one is highly significant. This one's a little less significant. Then this one is still highly significant, but not very much so. But that'll be the population, urban population, and the arid dummy variable are our most important factors in this equation here. Arid countries have can be associated with a lower GDP per capita. Therefore, they have a negative here. So it just seems like it's kind of like a big negative to your economic output if you are arid in general. A higher population gives less GDP per capita. That's just kind of how fractions work. You have a larger denominator. Your equation or your result is just going to be smaller. So the higher the population and less GDP per capita, you're just going to have a smaller number. That's why this is negative here. And for our marginal returns here, so the way this would work is an additional desalination facility would benefit your GDP per capita by this much. And then another one would be this plus this times 1, or this times 2, or this times 3. That's the benefit of an additional desalination facility in your country, because of course you can't just make infinite and go infinite with your GDP. You're going to hit a wall at some point, and we could do the math and figure out where that wall is, theoretically. In conclusion here, all the variables that I had that were related to desalination infrastructure were statistically insignificant. No stars, not small enough to be like definitive, really, but they're still pretty good. We can make an observation of like, yeah, that's pretty good. That's not something, you know. We have the marginal returns to each facility. Arid countries have a negative relationship So if we wanted to run like a different test and still want to find out more about desalination infrastructure, we could, our other variables could be about other kinds of infrastructure, like ports, roadways, trains, and then we could form a different observation about how important desalination infrastructure is compared to all other infrastructure in these arid countries. It wouldn't benefit this regression, but it would be another fun regression to run if one wanted to. So ultimately, I wasn't able to prove anything, but I wasn't able to not prove anything either. So thank you very much.